Good morning.
Woo, that's loud. Welcome to Interfaith Community Sanctuary on this wet Sunday morning. We are glad that you are here to join us, that you braved the elements, and we are very happy that Ann Holmes Redding is here with us today to guide us in our spiritual discernment for today. So I'll pass it off to Sally Jo.
Yes, welcome. Welcome to Interfaith Community Sanctuary, as Joey said. And we are very pleased to have you here today, online and in person. And I'm going to ring the bell to make that official. Well, I got to put it down first. Okay. Here we go. So that is our official start. And we do have our musician, Steve Kramer, to welcome us. But Steve, do you need a moment to warm up? Or are you ready to start? Okay, then let's go on with Steve's beautiful flute music in the Native American and in his personal tradition. Ask Chris to invite our ancestors and honor our first people for us this morning and with us. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Sally Jo. I'm glad to follow my spiritual brother, Steve Kramer, and be here in support of my spiritual sister, Bahiyaa Ann Holmes Redding. We look forward to your message today. But I would like to take a moment and honor all of our ancestors. Ancestors can, in my opinion, be anyone from our direct blood relations, those who might have raised us, taught us in schools, those who might have we might have found in spiritual books or other sources that directed us to come and gather together with us today. I'd like to think of all these folks, whatever form they came to you in, and let's hold them in our hearts for a moment. Welcome to our ancestors, and I sometimes hesitate doing my, what I like to also encourage and welcoming is our descendants. I'm a teacher. They keep asking me to do this welcoming, so I guess it's okay to honor our descendants also. In this time, I'm not going to go very far into why I'd be concerned for our descendants, but just let's think of how in our lives there may be other folks that we come in contact with who are a generation later than us, or a couple generations. They may be casual folks we meet in a store or getting gas, something. But we impact a lot of folks in our lives too. I'd like us to think about those other folks who we may have considered as our descendants, hold them in our hearts and consciousnesses for just a moment. And welcome to all our descendants and ancestors. Blessed be. Lastly, not really lastly, but before my spiritual brother Jamal Rahman honors our divine feminine, I did want to mention something about that. This week is a feast day for the image that we see there. That's known as Our Lady of Guadalupe, or the Virgin of Guadalupe. Next week, I'm hoping to tell a little bit more of the story in the place of honoring the divine feminine. But it was 500 years ago this week that she started making these appearances. So I would like to acknowledge that the first peoples of this land didn't necessarily look like me. They did a lot to hold this land in trust for the succeeding generations. They still are here with us today. This land was never ceded to any other settlers. We honor the struggle of the first peoples, be they the Coast Salish, other tribes up and down the Pacific Northwest. And to learn more about those folks, we support the realrentduwamish.org movement. And I also encourage you to visit the Longhouse, which is near Marginal Way and Harbor Island. So lastly, to honor the First Peoples, I'd like us to gather all the joys and sorrows that have brought us here today one last time. We're going to offer it up to the Creator. I'm going to raise my hand up. You can raise your hand up also. And as we do that, we're offering those things to the Creator. The Creator may put a gift in our hand. And as I raise my hand up, I'm going to say, "Oh," and you can join me if you'd like. One last breath together. Oh. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you, Steve, for the music, this beautiful stream of beauty that's flowing here this morning. I hope you're catching it, because it's just been lovely. And it will continue here. So next we move into the divine feminine honoring. And this, as Chris pointed out, this little candle is lit particularly for the feminine energies within each and every one of us and within the universe. And Jamal will explain the chant he's going to do, where our first honoring is of Mary, or Mariam, and then we honor other female saints in the lineage. And by the way, Chris, yes, our descendants are definitely a part of the stream of life that goes back infinitely and will go forward as infinitely as the gods allow, okay? And so thank you for reminding us of that each week, that our descendants are really no different from our ancestors. It's all a continuous stream of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally Jo. So we shall send peace and greetings to Mother Mary, then to Khadija, who was the wife of the Prophet Muhammad, and then to Asiya, the wife of the Pharaoh who rescued Moses from the waters. So we'll sing peace and greetings be upon you, and they will reply back to us, peace and greetings be upon you. Okay. Join me, some of you know the tune. Hazrati Bibi Maryam, Assalam alaikum. Assalam alaikum. Assalam alaikum. The reply? Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. Khadija. Hazrati Bibi Khadija. Assalam alaikum. Assalam alaikum. Assalam alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. Asiya. Hazrati Bibi Asiya. Assalam alaikum. Assalam alaikum. Assalam alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam.
Thank you, Jamal. So before we enter into our time with Bahiyaa Ann Holmes Redding, which we will be doing in a minute, I wanted to take a moment, a few minutes, to kind of do a little reminding of everyone of our spiritual discernment for the year and for this month in particular. If you turn to the back of your order of service, the back page, you'll see the listing of, at least by title, the different months of the year and how we have focused on our main theme for the whole year, which is an invitation to create sanctuary in community. Important words there are, all of the important words there are very important to the whole year. An invitation is what we do in our discernment. We invite people to go deeper into whatever the subject matter is. Creating is what we are trying to do, create sanctuary in community. And we broke it down month by month, and kind of, so we could go deeper into the different aspects of this, which you can see the different aspects of sanctuary for inclusion, for the divine, for transformation, for healing, sanctuary for engaged listening, and so on. Many different subjects we've tried to touch upon as we go through the year. And as we come into December here, this is the first Sunday of December, and we will trying to be, that word complete is a little bit deceiving because as far as creation goes, it's my belief that it's never really complete. The creation will continue to go on. But what I think we might mean by complete is we're going to try to gather together all of our various ideas, thoughts, and yearnings for having community and bring them together as a community to create an even deeper sanctuary. And in particular, I think we would like to see our community grow in creating sanctuaries, not only for ourselves, our inner sanctuary, which we've talked about a lot this year, but also as a community. Can we grow this community in spiritual awareness and in service to creation? How can we do that? And I think as we listen to Bahiyaa Ann, and by the way, Bahiyaa Ann uses this discernment every single month as she talks to us in the Friday prayer group, which she leads. Every Friday afternoon, we meet as in the Islamic tradition, although people of all faiths and all traditions are welcome there and do attend. And Bahiyaa Ann leads us in very thoughtful ruminations, I would call, or contemplations on these various topics every month. And so my own deepening awareness has come, a lot of it has come through coming to those prayer sessions. And I think that one of the things we are trying to focus on this month is how we can intentionally widen and deepen our community and our idea of sanctuary, and bring it beyond the four walls that we have here and beyond our own people, our own circle of love that we're comfortable with, and reach out to others who not only need help, but who may be searching for ways to give help and to offer help to others. And so I think you'll find that if you're part of this community and you come regularly, our discernment for 2026 will be a way of moving into that vision even more so. So I'm very pleased to invite Bahiyaa Ann to share with us today. You can read more about her fascinating life and spiritual journey in the little blurb in the order of service, but particularly, she's really, as most of you know, she's a very important member of our community. And so why are you treating her like a guest, Sally Jo? Well, I'll tell you what, she and I have this agreement in December. We pick either the guest Sunday or the fourth Sunday, the most convenient one for her to come to, I think, and that turned out to be the first Sunday this year. But really and truly, she is no guest in our house. She is our house, a member of our community, and yet we don't get to hear from her every Sunday. So this is our very important and special chance to hear her wisdom. So thank you, Bahiyaa Ann, for coming today.
I'm still using the excuse of having had 2 knee replacements, not this year, but last year. I guess, 14 months out from the second knee replacement, and so but I'm going to sit. And actually, there's another reason I'm going to sit. I'm sitting, and that will be revealed as I talk. I sent myself my notes to my Kindle, so thank God for technology. And it actually arrived, which is very good news. Except it opened the wrong document, so we'll try again. Where did it go? Now it's disappeared. Okay, I'll just put it down. I'm, as usual, very, very, very glad to be here, and this is one of the places on the face of the earth where I feel as if I'm here even when I'm not. And what you read about me on this piece of paper, as I was looking at it yesterday, I was realizing how much of what you see on this paper, how connected it is to my relationship to this building, to the people in this building, to this spiritual community. And for whatever reason, I've been saying to some people, today I feel nervous here, and I rarely feel nervous here, so I don't know what the big whoever's up to, but there's something going on today. And I can speculate, but if I do that, then I will take way too much time talking about that. But I so appreciate what has become this yearly invitation for me to come and share the impact of the yearly theme, whatever it has been. And this year, as usual, every year I think, oh, this is so perfect for the time we're in. This is so perfect for me. And this year obviously is no exception. What a brilliant idea it was to invite one another to take on a task that is runs so contrary to what a relatively tiny handful of people on the globe, the mischief makers, are up to these days. One of the things that I have become increasingly aware of over this year is that it's so easy to forget something that we kind of rehearse every Friday. I like to bring it to my own attention, as well as this circle, share it with the circle, is that at any given point in time in human history, those of us who are alive in that time, we can understand that we have been called to be alive in this precise time, in this precise place, with these precise ancestors, with these precise future ancestors, which is how I've learned to call our descendants. I've been taught that by indigenous teachers, that, yeah, our descendants are our ancestors as well, in that way of thinking about time, that we're called to think about time. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about this theme is that the theme of the year gave us explicit marching orders, if you will, for dealing with what's going on in the world, turning it into an opportunity for us to live into our vocation, our calling, and to do it together, I'm going to try to see if I can pull up my talk. It will really be a service to everybody if I actually have it in front of me. I can tell. It won't, yeah. Let me just see. Don't fail me now. So what I would like to do in the next few minutes is both talk about the theme for the year as it's been experienced, as I've experienced it Friday in and Friday out with the Friday Prayer Circle. But I also, in so doing, want to give a little taste of what happens in that circle, because it is I feel as if it's one of the places where the beating heart of ICS happens, and we all feel it there, and it does go out. It goes out to the world in various ways. And we usually open the first part of the talk, Friday prayer. And Friday prayer in the Islamic tradition, just as a little introduction for those of you who might not be familiar with it, it is the weekly communal religious observance in most of Islam is prayer on Friday, midday on Friday. And it's timed to coincide with the normal prayer time, because in Sunni Islam and parts of Shia Islam, one of the pillars, so-called pillars of Islam, is salat, daily prayer, and that salat has 5 sessions, and the second session happens in the middle of the day, and what we do at Friday prayer is really very much the same as what we do when we pray by ourselves or at home or in whatever context. It revolves around the prayer itself, very short, but it's preceded by a talk called the khutbah, and that talk is in 2 parts. In most communities, there's one speaker who gives the both parts. In our circle, we do the second part as a talking circle, and that is, we start. Usually, I'm the one who does the first part of the khutbah, and I was taught in the first Islamic community I was a member of, and I'm still a member of, that we always begin with the Quran and a passage from the Quran, and I have always begun with the first chapter of the Quran, Al-Fatiha, and one of the nicknames of Al-Fatiha is the opener of our hearts. So I will recite it in Arabic first, and then in an English translation, the English translation that has spoken to me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. With the name of Allah, Mother House of Divine Love, Flow of Divine Love. Praise belongs to Allah, Mother House of Divine Love, Flow of Divine Love, Possessor of the Day of Awakening. It's you we serve, and to you we turn for help. Guide us on the direct path to you, the path of those whose hearts stay open to the flow of divine love, not the path of those whose anger blocks it, nor the path of those who have gone astray. I want to set the Qibla for the words that I'm going to say now. And when I say set the Qibla, what I mean is orient myself in the direction of the Qibla. And the Qibla is the direction of Mecca. And when you're in a group of Muslims and it's prayer time, and you're in this place that you're not familiar with, somebody says, "Where's Qibla? Where's Qibla?" Because we pray, we orient ourselves towards Qibla. And it's not because, Mecca's the greatest place in the world, and that's not it. It is part of the practice of coming to prayer. Coming to prayer and recognizing that at any time of the day, we can stop and turn around. We can stop and say, "Oh, right, right. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I going?" And so I want to just say where I'm going. And partly so you all can help me from going astray. And also, look in the prayer room, and you'll see that the direction of Mecca is marked in the prayer room behind you. And if you go downstairs that way, take a look there. It's beautifully, beautifully marked. I'm so grateful for this invitation, invitation for this theme. And I've already said that we're in the midst of this world where there are these mischief makers who seem like hell bent on drawing people into a kind of confusion that they have about what life is about and what we were created for. And so being able to think about what we've learned in our Friday Prayer Circle, or what I've learned from people in the Friday Prayer Circle about how to move in these days through looking at this theme has just been wonderful. And this particular theme is so apt for that circle because our brother Jamal and our sister Karen Lindquist, may Allah be pleased with her, our circle was their brainchild. And I tell this story from time to time. They took me for coffee lately in 2013, and asked if I would consider serving as guide for this circle. And Karen said at the time she wanted a place where the well-being, specifically the well-being of Muslim women, was central. And in that way, this circle, what the circle has shown me over these 12 years, we will enter our 13th year at the beginning of 2006. And what it's shown me is that especially if we place at the center of our attention the well-being of a particular group of people that's targeted by some kind of oppression or mistreatment, that when we intentionally create a space that centers their well-being, it serves the well-being of the entire world. It's so clear it serves the well-being of the entire world. And we can tell from people who, although I'm one of the oldest members of the circle in years, I'm one of the youngest Muslims there. And so that people come into our circle who have been raised in Islam, and when they come to our circle, it's such a gift. It's this amazing gift that we get this wisdom and this experience, and let's look at this tradition that is so misunderstood on the face of the earth, and we get to understand our world so much better, not just Islam, but our whole world. And so we have experience in being a sanctuary in that circle. But who really thought about that? I certainly didn't think about that until this year, when the theme was creating sanctuary, and I thought, that's what we've been doing. And that's part of the reason the circle is so powerful for those of us who attend, and even those people who come once or twice, I still hear from people who are still part of our circle, even though they haven't been in years. So that's one, we have a track record at providing sanctuary that we hadn't been able to think about. And it's so much better when all of a sudden you become conscious, like, oh, we can do this consciously. And not only can we do this consciously, we can take it on the road. And that's the big point I wanted to make about this, is something that Sally Jo's already alluded to about next year's theme, and I'm eagerly awaiting finding out what it is precisely, but as the months have rolled by, I realized, oh, sanctuary is not just about inviting people from out there into our safe space. It's about we build the sanctuary this year in the way that the topics have rolled out. I realized, oh, at the center of this is it's this, what one Christian theologian used to talk about as coherence. It's the way in which, by creating sanctuary among us, it means creating sanctuary within each one of us, a sanctuary for Allah. In the Quran, it says that Allah says, I am closer to you than your jugular vein. I'm closer to you. And it's that bodily image is so compelling. So compelling, our jugular vein. And that particular part of our body. So part of this process of co-creating sanctuary is that we create a sanctuary together for each one of us, for Allah to be inside of us, to be in touch with that presence inside of us. So we create a sanctuary for Allah, and we're already inside of Allah. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, those two most frequently used names for Allah have the same roots as the word for womb in Arabic, womb. And in one of in the indigenous circle that I was part of for a number of years, the leader of which I met in this room, in one of our talking circles, she described us, those of us in the talking circle, as womb mates. And we use that term in our Friday prayer circle. We are womb mates. We are Allah's womb mates. He's sent us to the same dorm, whatever, however. And that and that those two most frequently used names for Allah that are usually translated something like the all-compassionate, the all-merciful, which is fine, but is so abstract. And one of the wonderful things about Arabic is that all of these abstract terms are rooted in very concrete realities in the world and everyday life. And Rahman and Rahim are no exception. So yeah, I'm already sailing away from my script. But back to this circle, the Friday prayer circle, the other connection that I realized pretty early on is that Jumu'ah prayer, Friday prayer, and Jumu'ah is related to the verb to gather. And so Jumu'ah prayer is the gathered prayer. And Jumu'ah is also the name for Friday in Arabic, and that's when Jumu'ah prayer happens. But the name actually refers to this root that means to gather. And one of the names of Allah is the gatherer, And so Friday prayer is the day of that Al-Jami gathers Jumu'ah. And every week we remember that together. You know, this is not a chance kind of thing. We have been gathered, you know, and whoever shows up, those are the people who have been gathered for that particular day. And it's so interesting that in Islam, the weekly day of gathering is not the weekly day of rest. It's not a day of rest. It's very explicit that Jumu'ah prayer happens in the middle of your working life. And the call to prayer in Islam is so wonderful. It reminds us of that as well. It's like it's in the middle of the call to prayer, after saying Allahu Akbar, Allah is greater. It's like, and that, it starts with that. It's like, hello, Allah is greater. Whatever you're going through, Allah, it's Allah who's great. I know you think the world is about to end, or your job is about to end, or whatever is happening that's what's happening. And the call to prayer comes, and any of you have been in Islamic countries or settings and have heard the call to prayer, it's like, all right, you know. And even if you're not it's the last thing you would ever do in your life to go to prayer, still, you get that call, you know, that call, and it's powerful. It's so powerful to remember, oh, wait a minute, I could go to prayer. You know, I could gather with people and help us all remember. And so it's a sanctuary. It provides sanctuary, and it's provided sanctuary. All the pillars. It's the word pillar of Islam is a really important word. I often think about. I've only been in one really big, fancy mosque outside of this country once, and way before Islam was a twinkling in my eye. But I have these images of these huge mosques, and there's one in particular, and I'm not sure which one it is, where I remember seeing actually it was a woman leaning against a pillar in the mosque, you know, resting on the pillar. And that's what the pillars of Islam are. They're resting places, they're sanctuary, they're refuge for the human soul. And so this call to prayer that happens in the middle of a workday, and people just drop things and come to prayer, and mass coming to prayer. And And so in our circle, we understand that. And people call in on Zoom. We're still on Zoom. We'll call in from like a closet in the hospital where they work, you know, having come from the bedside of a patient. And they'll come wherever they are, just to check in, just to say, okay, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and here's my community. So that's why it's been such a pleasure to delve into this practice and to step back and get some perspective on what we do week in and week out, and get some notions of how the perspectives we have and the practices we do in that circle can be taken on the road, how they are portable. So I'll say a few words about the one perspective that I've had about co-creating sanctuary on the road that's informed by an experience of Friday prayer, and one practice, and then I will shut up. Inshallah. The perspective is that every day is Jummah day. Every day is the day of gathering. Every place we are is, when we're with other people, is a place where Al-Jami has gathered people. And if we bring that perspective to every place we're in with other people, it can transform how we behave in those places. Because we get to look at these people around us as like co-conspirators, possible co-conspirators. If Allah has gathered these people, you get to look. And I didn't quite realize until this year that I have been doing this kind of thing for a long time, but I usually do it, my focus is almost always on humans and animals, but humans under the age of 6 or 7. That's they I know, because they're fresh off the boat, and it's like they're looking around saying, okay, I'm not sure about this world, I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm curious, and so I do a lot of connecting to those humans, because it's like sometimes, and over the years, they tell me all kinds of things that I maybe never knew, but I certainly, or I'd forgotten them once I got here. And but this year I'm realizing, I get to do that with everybody. I get to do that with the person who's sitting next to me on the plane, who looks like it would not be a good idea to say anything to. I get to at least be curious. At least have the vibe of, hey, I wonder what you're about. And here I'll just tell us a Sufi story that's based on a passage in the Quran in which it talks about humanity before we were human, meeting with, having this conversation with Allah. And there is an expansion on that story that says that before we came to this world, we were who we are, but not in these bodies. And our soul activity was dancing in a circle around the throne of Allah. That's all we did. And that when we come to this world, we meet people whom we recognize from that world. And these are the people who if we can have the eyes to see and can connect, that Allah has something for us to do together in this world. And so that's the kind of perspective that this idea of co-creating sanctuary, this invitation, we get to be inviting people to do this. Just as people are trying to scare people into thinking that there is no such thing as sanctuary. For some people on this earth, there should not be a sanctuary. They're not entitled to it, or they've been left out, or whatever. That there's this is such a contradiction to that, because I do wake up in a panic every day these days. And so I have to put this stuff to use inside of myself. First, I have to get the sanctuary inside myself going so that I can say, yeah, I hear you. I hear you, and let's get out of bed. And this because there are people out there for us to connect to. There are people out there who are on this team. Most of the people actually are on this team, but they don't know it. They don't know that the team actually exists as a real thing, because all these identities that are getting targeted by expulsion and killing, it sets everybody on edge about it with fear. We're fearful. We're supposed to walk out of the door being fearful. And no, we're supposed to walk out of the door saying, hey, where are you? What's up? What can we do that's really fun today? How can we turn this boat around? So that's the perspective, the practice. The practice is in the name of our gathering, which is the Friday prayer circle. The practice is circling up. The practice is calling a circle, as in the indigenous circle that I was in. There were these moments when we would be, often we had a little socializing before we did the circle. And in one of those gatherings, and actually more than one of those gatherings, sometimes people would get in arguments, and sometimes fairly serious ones. And in one of them, I remember in the first time it happened when I was present, and the leader of the circle said, let's get in circle. And once we got into the configuration of the circle and started following the deeply tested protocols of circle behavior, circle ritual, the conversation changed. Well, first of all, it became a totally different kind of conversation because in the kinds of circles that I'm talking about, the one to whom everyone is listening is is the creator, is the gatherer. And the way of sharing in a circle is about having other people be able to share what they're hearing. And as you go around a circle, and the order of speaking is just about where you're sitting. And you just go around the circle, and everyone is allowed to talk, has a time to talk. And I'm talking obviously about very specific circle protocols. Not every circle has these protocols, but the circles that I've watched, that I've learned from experience, are sacred circles. Everyone's on the same ground. No one's higher than somebody else. It's not always the same voices that you hear when in normal conversation, in group conversations. I assume all of us are in some kind of groups, on a somewhat regular basis, and in many groups, the same people are the ones who talk, and they have conversations with each other, and the rest of people have lots of ideas and lots of opinions and are part of the group, but are not heard. And so I won't go on and on about circle protocol, but I invite you, and that's such a wonderful word, I invite you to think about whatever configuration you're in, to think about it as a circle. To notice the person who's not talking. To honor the person who may have fallen asleep or may be doing something totally, not proper or whatever. But to know, okay, they're here too, they're in the circle. And so, did I have a good ending? Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, maybe not. Maybe not. But I think I will end with at least the chorus of a song that came to me this past week, one of my all-time favorite songs that I heard from one of my all-time favorite singers, Buffy St. Marie, and it's called We Are Circling. And if you know it, sing along. And the chorus, the tune for the chorus is the same as the tune for the verses, and we'll see. I'll just sing the chorus and see what happens after that. We are circling, circling together. We are singing, singing our heart song. We are family. This is unity. This is celebration. This is sacred. We are spiraling, spiraling together, inward, onward, creature to creation, holy mystery, childbirth, Mother Earth. This is Mother Nature. This is sacred. We are circling, circling together. We are singing, singing our heart song. This is family. This is unity. This is celebration. This is sacred. We are ripening, ripening together. Babies, elders, bozos, and angels. This is how we grow. This how we come to know. This is celebration. This is sacred. We are circling, circling together. We are singing, singing our heart song. This is family. This is unity. This is celebration. This is sacred. So, how much time is left? A little. Yeah, yes. Comments or questions? Yes. So, we could try going around, but we have very short time. So,
Well, I could pass the microphone
pass it,
if you have something to
If you have
say.
something to say, please do.
And then if not, just pass it on. And you are speaking in terms of either questions or
comments. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
One thing that really resonated with me from what you shared early on was I believe you said, did you say that one of the names for Allah is the opener of hearts? Or the opener of...
Yeah, it's actually the name for it's a name for the first chapter of the Quran.
Oh, of
but
the Quran.
it could be a
Okay.
name of Allah. Is it? Oh, yes, of course. Al-Fatah. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's Al-Fatah?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. That really resonated. So I hope to remember that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You said so many beautiful things, and I had to keep taking notes about the things that touched my heart. I don't have any questions per se, but just, the idea of Juma coming in the middle of the day. It's just like I'm a person that tends to do all my practices early in the morning so I can get on with my day, and stopping in the middle of the day is the hardest thing. So that's calling to mind something that I need to learn to practice. And what you shared about circle, the medicine in hearing each other is so beautiful. And I'm so grateful for the way that you've approached Friday prayers, where everyone gets to talk, which is not the way it's done in a regular mosque, where it's more masculine oriented. So thank you for the beauty of bringing the circle and the Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, the womb, into the Islamic tradition. I just really appreciate that.
She provoked a memory, or helped me with a memory. And I do remember being in Istanbul on a business trip, focused on questions, and call to prayer. I was outside, and call to prayer was, the only word I can use is blasted. And it just takes you over. And I can remember being just sort of swept away. It was really quite remarkable. And time almost seemed to stop. So I was very moved by that, and I hadn't thought about that until you spoke about that earlier. So thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. This has been kind of a reset for me after a couple weeks away. Thank you. And I'm very intrigued by the Friday prayer opportunity, so I'll be seeing you.
I wasn't going to say anything, but somebody handed me a microphone here. So. but one of the things I was thinking about as you were speaking is the whole idea of prayer. I always think of myself as having a very different perspective on what prayer is. But one of the things that kind of resonated with me was the idea of personally being called to prayer on a regular basis. You know, and you talked about gathering, and sometimes in the course of the day, to stop and gather oneself, to check in and say, who does this behavior represent? Who am I at this moment? Am I representing my essential self, my true self, my divine self, or is it the ego at work here? Just checking in, and each one of those can be seen as a call to prayer in some respects. Anyway, it just resonated in me with that, so I thank you for that.
That was so rich, and I'm so grateful that it's on YouTube and I can watch it again. You always touch my heart. And I just want to say I'm happy you're one of my womb mates.
I really, makes me think, the gatherings and the call to prayer, about how hard it can be to be in one world and, get pulled back to gather yourself. And I liked the way George put it. I was thinking too of Thich Nhat Hanh and Plum Village, where they ring a bell every single hour. It's like, oh, here I am, I'm alive, I'm here. And also, and I don't know where I heard this or if I embellished it in my mind or what, but that someone asked Moses once how many times a day, and he said, 100 or something. And I don't know how it got boiled down to 5, but it seems to me 5 is also the Catholic, Vespers or 6. Yeah, I don't know how many there are.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's really useful. I was thinking, can I set my phone? How do I? But also, I really liked just knowing that you also wake up in a panic and have to kind of gather yourself. And I even liked what you said to yourself when you described that. So I'm actually going to try that in the morning. Yeah, I hear you. Now get up.
Jamal's behind you.
Oh, just a very quick comment. Sister Bahiyaa, you mentioned about mischief makers. I would say you're a sacred mischief maker. Because she was the one who deepened this idea of multiple belonging. You know what I'm talking about? Being a Christian, but also a Muslim, and having both traditions as part of her faith. And I think you mentioned once when and you got so much abuse when you did that. You were a Christian, but you also declared yourself also as a Muslim. But you explained how, a mother can have or a father can have 2 or 3 children and love them equally. So in that sense, you're a sacred mischief maker. Alhamdulillah. And also a woman leading prayers. That's also breaking the convention. So thank God for mischief makers.
Behind you. Oh.
I just want to say thank you for the kind words, and the circle really resonated with me. I thought that was really beautiful, and it's something that I have thought of in my own time as well. So it was very validating.
Thank you for coming here. There's so excuse me. There's so many different forms or the ways you can talk about what you've been talking about, because it's an old concept. It's not a new concept. But whenever we interact with anyone or anything, that's the circle. There's even a circle within ourselves. So yeah, we just have to help more people to get into the network of what it is when we interact with anything, because that's the work right there, is the interaction right there.
Thank you very much. Always appreciate being with you and listening to you, conversating with you. Thank you for everybody else being here too. Something that really resonated for me was how you were talking about folks that come once or twice or a handful of times, and then maybe something in life takes them elsewhere, and yet they're still part of the circle. You know, I was kind of looking at this floor grate while you were talking about that, and like thinking about all of our concentric circles. We've all got different circles, and all of us are in this one right now, but maybe every one of us has at least a handful of others that you have people that overlap and whatnot. So it's really, really comforting and nice to remember that even though the folks aren't necessarily there all the time, that they go with you or you go with them. And so that idea of the everlasting circle was really appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just so glad to be in a community. I was acting somewhat sheepish up there, not really, but looking for validation, and it came back very strongly that things that I believe and say and represent for, and then reinforced further by what you said. So I'm just a blessed person and glad for everybody in this community, and thank you. Have a lovely, lovely time. Thank you.
I just want to thank you very much. I appreciate and I'm very grateful to be in this circle and appreciate you sharing. Thank you.
Okay. I could say a lot, but I'm not going to even start because I started it all anyway with some of my words. So thank you again, Bahiyaa Ann, for sharing with us. And remember, all are welcome to the Friday Prayer Circle. You can let me know, and I can give you the Zoom link. And let's have Steve play some music so we can get back our contemplative nature and thinking about all the beautiful things we've heard today from Bahiyaa Ann and from the rest of us. And then we will get to some of our closing rituals. Thank you. Yes. All are welcome. Yes, all are welcome. Muslim or not, you don't have to.
Men, women, non-binary, anybody, well, talk to me later if you have any more questions. All right.
Yeah, open to all, absolutely.
Yes, thank you, sir.
And thank you, Steve, for that beautiful music. Oh, it's so perfect. Everything is so perfect. Well, I'm going to pass the plate here, and I'm going to thank everybody in advance for all the giving that happens in this circle. And look, there's $20 in there already. I don't know where that came from. And it is a beautiful opportunity to give back to the community that gives to us so regularly. People online have the opportunity to give online. And hey, guess what? New feature, you guys. The QR code is right there in the service. If you want to give online and you don't happen to be the type of person who carries cash around, and that's okay. We love it all because it goes right back into our building, our programs, our hard work that's done here, and all the beautiful. Joey, I want to thank Joey for the beautiful decoration of the room here, of the sanctuary, and downstairs. And I want you all to know there's a big day coming up. So I'm glad you're inside. You're not going to get wet if you stay inside for the activities that are happening. We will keep you warm and dry in here. We've dealt with all the problems of rain falling through the roof and all that. That doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't come up through the floors either. So you stay inside, you'll be dry. The lights will be on. It will not get dark in here. So this is a very safe place for you to stay. First, we have our guiding council meeting at 11:45, right after the service. There's lunch for those who are staying for the guiding council. And even if you're not, you can sneak your lunch, but do stay if you would be so kind to do so. We would love to have everybody participate. Then you have a couple hours of break, but we're going to be setting up for our annual, it's now being an annual holiday bake sale and craft sale that will be in the fellowship hall downstairs starting at 3 o'clock. And that will go till 5. And then, now Ann was talking about the fact that we danced together in the world before we came here. Well, I want to tell you a secret. We can be dancing together today as we listen to the blues group that will be coming to play for us. And they're going to be coming and setting up at 3 o'clock. So you'll hear them up here when we're downstairs. They will be setting up their equipment and getting ready to play a blues concert for us starting at 5. And Imam Jamal and Pastor Dave Brown will be doing some Vespers. They'll be sneaking in some spiritual talk, but it's really a time to get up and move around and dance and enjoy the concert. So that will happen from 5 to 6:30 or so. You don't have to go home until 6:30, or even after that. We'll probably still have some things left around for the craft sale. Joey, when are you and I being released? I'm not sure. We're going to talk about that. I brought my, night gear and my flashlight because I know it will be after the sun sets. Anyway, please stick around. Today's a big day, but it's not the only time we have activities. As you know, all of you who are sitting here and many of you are out in cyberspace, we have classes and gatherings and meditations and workshops every day of the week, and we have many coming up every week, and you can sign up, and many of you get the Monday announcement that comes out about our upcoming gatherings for that week and the coming weeks, and we invite you to check into that every week and find out what's going on, who's meeting, who's online, who's in person. Sometimes it's hybrid. The groups are described more carefully there, and the leaders are designated, and ways you can contact them if you need more information. So please do join us for these wonderful activities that we provide for gathering in community and becoming interrelated and interconnected circles of each other so we can continue to inspire each other. And with that, I will ring the bell. Oh, a further announcement. Go ahead, Joey, thanks. Oh, next Sunday.
Just a last call for the food drive. So we have bins upstairs and downstairs, and we are collecting for the Ballard Food Bank. I plan to take the items on Tuesday, the 9th, because they said that's when it would be most beneficial for the people that they serve. So if you have items between now and Tuesday, please make sure they arrive here. And I thank you so much for all the contributions thus far. We've donated 160 pounds in November and hope we can break that in December. So thank you.
Also, I meant to mention that next Sunday's service, the second Sunday of December, will be the Universal Worship, which is always on the second Sunday. And Joey, also, whose spiritual name is Fatah, okay, you know that word now, the opener. And she will be leading the service that day, along with Michael Douglas will be back to help lead that service on next Sunday. So join us for that. And we will say, I will ring the bell, and we will say goodbye to our friends online at this point and thank them for being here. And then we will take a few minutes here